Hello there, I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. Tonight we're going to be listening to the demos for my album Fight Songs as MS Ride, as well as looking at some of the original song sheets for the record. This record has had a very long development process. The bonus track, Speed Lab, is actually the oldest song on the record. I wrote that, the bones of it, in 2006. And then in 2008, I wrote the first two songs, Cookie and Lost, that inspired the rest of the record. So we're going to listen to these demos in chronological order, the order that I wrote them, that is. I'll be flipping through my original song sheets for these songs, and we'll take some decent pictures of those and make them part of this video. But this will mostly be an audio experience, so feel free to use your other windows and tabs. This is mostly kind of a podcast type of thing, but I will be using YouTube as the release platform for it, and there will be some small little visual components. I'm aiming for something that's part song exploder, part storytellers, and part sort of self-mythology, as if I don't do enough of that. But pretty much all of my guitar-based albums come around this way, with a long writing process that's happening in parallel with other writing processes for other projects. Though this one, I think, spans the longest stretch of time so far. If you go back to that 2006 date, 17 years. Fight Songs, I got an unusual number of kind of fully completed or almost fully completed songs in the initial writing sessions. So a lot of these demos will have quite a few of the final lyrics already included, more so than other records I've done in the past. So these demos are kind of unusually complete compared to what I'm usually working with, which is a few finished songs in demo form, and then at least half or 2/3 probably just instrumental ideas, or maybe an instrumental idea with a nonsense kind of melody, nonsense lyrics, just to get the melody down. But Cookie, Lost, Fight Song, So Did I Miss You, and Hey Sleepyhead, basically half the record was kind of finished when I did the initial demos, as you'll hear. And that set was done by about 11 years ago. So about half this record is 11 years old. Inspirations for these, first and foremost, Derek Jennings from the band The Return, who's also put out a solo EP on Mr. Furious Records, the D-Rockets project, and has some other solo material out there. I was taking heavy inspiration from his style at the time. Of course, I love Elvis Costello. I adore Nick Lowe. So that's part of the writing here in terms of snappy kind of storytelling lyrics and the tempos of the songs, that whole kind of pub rock thing. Billy Joel is a huge influence. I even reference a Billy Joel song in Cookie. And of course, Ted Leo is just one of the many punk artists that would be an influence on this project. I could list off punk bands for days, but Ted Leo and the Pharmacists is a good encapsulation of the melodicism and the sense of energy, the sense of always kind of pushing forward. Shake the Sheets in particular, hugely influential. And then when you listen to the finished album, you won't hear it so much here in the demos, but the production of the actual record is heavily Motown influenced, the Four Tops and James Jamerson in particular. So here we go. Let's listen to the first song, the bonus track, what ended up being the bonus track. The song's been kicking around my various manila folders full of song notes since 2006. Speed Lab. So I already got the congas. Made sure and got those real congas or bongos in the demo. I maybe borrowed those from Scott or had them around.
Taken off the edge. We had this place for granted. tighter than before. Make it up in sequence. What we lacked while the band played in our heads. Work in progress.
So no later than August of 2006 was this demo done. I've got here, I think this is the first scrap of paper I wrote this idea down on. I'll put a better shot. I'll take a photo and put up a better shot. It just says former Speed Lab. It's got the chords for the verse on it and the pre-chorus. Some scratch lyrics.
The tides crash on our shore.
I've also got this slightly later sheet with a much more complete set of lyrics. That is very old though. And a lot of these scratch lyrics made it into the final song. The song, I didn't know what it was about really. I had this escape kind of idea in my head. It ended up being kind of a weird James Bond with an anti-colonist twist at the end, sort of song. But a lot of these scratch lyrics made it into the final in one shape or form. I don't remember much about writing this song. It was a one-off. I didn't write any other songs like it, and I had always wanted to finish it, and finally have.
But
I'm sure the title, which is just a working title, but Speed Lab, I'm sure came from the John Vanderslice song of the same name. No relation musically, melodically, lyrically. In my song, the Speed Lab is sort of a metaphor for Q's Lab in a James Bond kind of thing. Yeah, my song's not about drugs. Still those congas popping away. Finished the lyrics in 2001, just in the lead up to actually recording all the lyrics for Fight Song. So I had a major lyric writing session fall of last year in preparation to actually do the recording of the vocals.
Freeland with your Speed Lab watching over me, man. We could take potential, manufacture Freeland with your Speed.
Here's a clean lyric sheet from fall 2001. Just a few edits on it.
We could take potential, manufacture Freeland.
Yeah, so almost the whole arrangement is there. I cut a riff off the intro maybe, but basically the arrangement is there. A lot of those scratch lyrics, which didn't really mean anything, they just sounded cool enough, I thought. A lot of them actually made it into the story. I kind of fit the story into the scratch lyrics in a lot of ways because I liked just how they sounded, the prosody. I'm big on the prosody of my lyrics, and that one just had it. So here, next up is Cookie, and this will be actually the 2008 recording, which is out there on a compilation project called Furious Instance. So you may have heard this before. It's the earliest recording that I have of Cookie. There was no earlier demo.
You can spell it how you like. Common sense be damn full speed, but head conventions never work.
an email I printed out, sent to myself and printed out with the lyrics. A couple edits on it. Not many. I was probably singing off of this exact piece of paper when I recorded what you're hearing now. I don't remember writing this song, but it did kind of all come at once. There was the Billy Joel reference, maybe I'm the lunatic you're looking for.
I don't need to window, never walk away from an honest debate. Babe, it doesn't matter, doesn't mean a thing when we stop having fun in here. My heart, I'm yours. And your sketchy spelling doesn't change a thing about us. Trust me when I tell you, she doesn't know your name. I did.
So these two songs, Cookie and Lost,
Talking like a
written summer 2008, maybe literally August 2008. Lost might have been in September. Kind of came fully formed in the initial writing session when the initial kind of inspiration struck. I posted the lyrics to Cookie, calling it a brand new song on August 9, 2008. And you can kind of hear, the style of writing from Ventura is kind of carried forward, condensed, made faster, made catchier, more hooks, more of that feeling of forward momentum from, and just that's what I admire. One of the things I admire about like Elvis Costello or Ted Leo, just that sense of propulsion, and I wanted to have that in fight songs.
Love, the dictionary has defeated me. We lost the battle, let's win the war.
For several years around this time, my Saturday morning routine was to drink coffee, of course, play Billy Joel records, and read the AV Club. Back when the AV Club was cool to read. Another kind of this choppy, this rhythm here in the guitar. That's another kind of very Billy Joel.
I'm yours, and your silent casting eyes don't change a thing about us. My heart,
all one take here, played the guitar and sang at the same time. I think just one mic, probably. I think it was just the NT1 in the living room. I mean, I'm in the laundry room now, if you're watching and haven't already noticed. So yeah, Cookie and Lost, and Cookie, of course, I probably said it elsewhere now, but that's a real fight, a play fight, but kind of real, that Carrie Ann and I had. Lost, our friends Tim and Mo were getting married, and Carrie Ann went to the wedding, I didn't. I don't remember why I didn't. But that's kind of the setup for this song.
Invitation found me there in the mail.
Same deal. I've got the email lyric sheet with a couple edits on it. This would date from 2008. I've also got, this is the original piece of paper from the initial idea. And I don't remember writing this, but this is what my songs look like if I write them down on paper when they first come.
Wake me to my friends in love.
It's got some chords.
Claim me back from the crowd.
Some very scratch lyrics.
Lost when you're lost. What's in my eyes that you can't find? You're after. Yeah, we talk, but I can't come with words. The anxious voice of your darkest heart.
As I'm looking at the initial sheet here, I don't know that it was really about Tim and Mo's wedding at first. It's much more generic. The lyrics to the chorus are when I'm lost and I'm lost and I'm lost and I can't decide and I'm taking it all back, you know, just kind of to get the idea down. There aren't the details like here in the second verse and that are in the final.
Road be damned. Ask me where my head is. Do you think I'm getting old?
One of the sheets here has that line is, do they think we're getting old? Like a question.
Give me spark.
And so those are just the kind of the little details
When you're lost,
I go through when I'm finishing lyrics, checking, you know, trying different pronouns and which party is saying which line and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we talk, but I can't come with words. The anxious voice of your darkest heart. When you're lost, what's in my eyes that you can't find? What you're after. Given I'm here 50, could I still look like love to you? Rocky or and so steady, static turns the signals to.
It's funny that 15 years ago I was writing about, you know, are we getting old? I imagine that's kind of a universal human truth and something that a lot of people go through. It's just kind of all perpetually feeling like, or I don't know what like, but just feeling feelings about looking ahead at generations in front of you, looking back at people younger than you and wondering how you fit into all that.
Yeah, we talk, but I can't come with words. The anxious voice of your darkest heart.
With this one, I mean, not only is the arrangement nearly the same, if not identical to the finished arrangement on Fight Songs, the dynamics are the same, and the build-ups and the little, it's all kind of right there in 2008.
The anxious voice of your darkest heart.
Oh, the finished version has a couple, that transition out of the last chorus has a couple extra chords in it. And then I've got a little snippet here for you. This is a little production idea demoed in 2016. Just getting down some different rhythmic ideas to have banked for the actual recording process. Which aren't the final ones that I ended up using.
Invitation found me there.
Much happier with the chorus and the finished version.
I've been piling up a while. I'll admit, missed the dates.
This isn't the whole song. This is just, oh, there's something.
Do you think I'm getting old?
Yeah, so I ended up doing something different there. But this isn't a full demo. This is just, we're about halfway through this snippet.
Give me spark, give me soul. When you're lost, what's in my eyes that you can't find? You're after. Yeah, we talk, but I can't come with words. The anxious voice.
Yeah, so captured some ideas, didn't end up using. So we're going to jump forward slightly to what I'm calling the Shaker demo era. So In the fall of 2011, I took a stack of song sheets like I've been holding up to the camera, 40 or 50 ideas in various stages of completion, and spent a few weeks just demoing everything I had so that I could listen to it and start to sort it into projects and finish lyrics and move songs forward. And this demo of Hey Sleepyhead is from the Shaker demo. So the demo's September of 2011. The song is from October or November of 2009. And I know that because it references a different wedding, Eric and Mango, which is referenced in the lyrics. And this song's all kind of like, you know, negotiating new levels of intimacy in a relationship.
How do we meet this moment without a recipe film when we feel exhausted?
Kind of a, you know, what do you do on Saturday after you went out Friday night, you stayed over, you have breakfast, planning on hanging out, but like, what do you fill Saturday with?
What's it take to change my house into a home? Is a book enough? Need to leave a pair of shoes. I didn't mean to say that. Kids, you know,
got the original sheets here, original song sheets, lyrics and chords.
Throw me something. Yeah, I know I hide at the map when I could entertain. But the question's how to save a space for two to tangle. In spite of the claim.
I think what I'm holding up here has been the second revision of this song. I think this is the first time the idea got put on paper, and it wasn't even called Hey Sleepyhead, because there's a later that note there that says, "Is this Hey Sleepyhead?" That's later coming across this sheet, and this is only chords. It's definitely the Hey Sleepyhead chords though. It's got the verse is exactly the way it went down. And it's got it's got the melody, some of the melody written out in tab, so I can play it on guitar and figure out what I wanted for a melody.
What keeps us going on? Something in the way she moves. Here's the Thursday and champagne at 10 a.m. Sleepy heads and sexy boots. Name and try to name again what keeps us going on. Something in the way she moves. Here's the Thursday and champagne at 10 a.m. Sleepy heads and sexy boots. Love could be our rhythm, our religion, a fight and words.
old ringtone in the back of that demo. I hadn't noticed that before. So the next song written, the titular fight song. The demo is from August 29th, 2011. The song could be up to a year or so earlier than that, given the lyrical content, which is kind of this, are we going to get married? And the answer is sort of not yet, but I think so. Later. Not the most satisfying answer at the time.
Different than we are. I'm not. The fight you made second year, and more of cooking in. But I can hope that we could be the fight you will have chosen. It's not a win or losing thing if you.
That line, it's not a win or losing thing, and those chords, that always reminds me of the John Denver and the Muppets Christmas album. I don't really know why. And I've written, some jazzy-ish American standard songs like this in the past. A couple. But this was the first one that kind of felt more authentic and less of a pastiche, or not quite parody, but my earlier ones were a little tongue-in-cheek, and that was clear, I think, to everyone. But this one was a lot more honest. It just had a lot more heart in it. Here's the first sheet. Chords. Some lyrics.
Hear the standards. It had to be.
And a mostly finished set of lyrics from that same time period. Probably sang this demo off the prior sheet, or both these sheets, side by side.
For them.
I would have recorded the guide track for the studio version looking at this sheet.
You'll be the first to hear them, and everything you care to know has been between us since I saw you love on the steps in May.
Some of the dynamics of this song change from the demo, but some of them are like really there. Like that whole ending basically has the same push and pull as the studio version. All right, so two more demos from the Shaker demo era. So Did I Miss You is next. And here, I don't know when I wrote it. I just had to go off the date on the file in iTunes. So this was added to iTunes on September 2nd, 2011. Not sure how much earlier I wrote it.
Don't get me wrong, if I keep to my own.
Not more than a year or two, though. I mean, it would have been around this time.
Doesn't mean we're not. Missing is weird to me, what can I say? It's not like it can change.
A lot of lyrics are here. There won't be lyrics on the bridge. I didn't write those till last year. And it was fine for this demo, but I didn't, the dragging feel of the riff, the main kind of guitar theme that you hear in the studio version, I wanted it all along, but I didn't kind of go to the trouble to create it on the demo here. I was really just banging these demos. I had a thick stack of song ideas and was just ripping through them. I've still got Shaker demos in iTunes. A couple projects worth.
With the hedge in the car. Now I'll get to hear love as soon as I can.
The best songs are on Fight Songs, though, probably. Here's the original
Hope the air isn't rough.
song sheet to So Did I Miss You. That bridge is actually a really good illustration of something that happens to me a lot, which is that I'll have a melody and even some vowel and consonant sounds that I might want for vocals in the demo. But I'll have to write lyrics to fit within those constraints to retain the kind of first thought, best thought that's there in the demo. This might be another one where the arrangement on the studio version is exactly the same as in the demo.
Makes me miss breath and
As we go on here, we're kind of transitioning now into songs that weren't finished in the original demo form, and so they'll be more incomplete and just instrumental. And these are songs that I finished after making the demo. At various points, a lot of the arrangements, of course, are finalized in like 2019 as I started mapping drums out and everything, and then a lot of lyrics in 2021, just because that was the last thing left, was to record the vocals. This is the last time, working title OTA, and you'll see that on, let me find the sheet here. Here's the original sheet, just a set of chords. Does have the the scratch verse idea lyrics start out, "I don't want to say another word," which I think made it through. Some vocal ideas here. I don't know if I even used either of these. I haven't traced out to see if this actually made it or not. These did. That previous one might have been unused. These are the melodies that I used for the chorus and verse. Written sometime after the chords, probably after this demo, because if I'd had melody at this point, I would have sung it. So the melody must postdate this demo, which was put into iTunes on September 18th, 2011. I know it's crazy nerdy that I keep track of some of these dates and figure this stuff out. I mean, I keep telling myself I need to start just putting the date right on the piece of paper. Haven't got smart enough to do that yet too often, and now a lot of times I demo straight like there might not be a piece of paper. Like I might just go, I have the idea, and I'll just make a quick recording on an iPad or on my phone or whatever, just right there. And so there might not be old pieces of paper like this to date, sometimes anyway. Back in the day, to do a demo, I'd have to fire up my Pro Tools rig and set up a microphone, and so a lot of times it was just easier to write on paper. All right, so that kind of ends the Shaker demo era as far as fight songs goes. And next up, we'll have the working title of this song was 2013 March, conveniently, so I know exactly when it was written.
This wants to be right now. Yes, this wants to be right now.
Scratch lyrics.
Yes, this wants to be right now.
Really just vocal sounds, right? Like this is another, that's what tumbled out of my mouth. And so I wrote the actual lyrics to fit that initial combination of consonants and vowels. this sheet, this is later. This is a 2021 piece of paper, but you can see I'm working out what kind of name is going to fit. And I was Googling names and everything. Even though there's only scratch chorus vocals in this demo, I'm pretty sure the arrangement of the studio version is exactly this. So this demo is kind of one-off. Again, songwritten March 2013, demo from July 2015. Something important happened between those two dates, which is that in October of 2014, I reached out to Scott to ask if he wanted to start working on the project that became V for Voice. So starting fall 2014, I was in a more kind of serious going through demos and gathering songs and figuring out what songs I was going to do with Scott. And this song was in contention. Working title, M-Tap Reverb, which is a reference to the multi-tap delay setting on my Eventide time factor delay. That was absolutely crucial to this. I mean, this riff, these chords were inspired by that sound, and it is the sound on the studio version. So this could have been on V for Voice, maybe. It ended up obviously on Fight Songs as March 401st. I think this is the initial idea. That is, if you're watching the song sheet for the initial idea, the first thing I wrote down on paper. Does have some melodies on it that I used. Yeah, definitely the verse and the turnaround melody. It has January, February, which was just nonsense filler at the time, but ended up partially inspiring the real lyrics. Another sheet, just kind of work in progress. Some lyrical ideas that didn't end up making it. And then this ended up being kind of the sheet I worked out the most of the real lyrics on in fall of 2021. This so the demo here is 2015, May of 2015. I don't know when the song was written, the instrumental was written. It could have been as early as July 2013 when I bought the pedal. It's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think I bought the pedal and immediately knocked this out. one of the first, possibly the first song where I start to experiment with these lead lines in the riff, which I've done quite a bit more with since. Not a lot of that is out or on Fight Songs even, but yeah, that was something I was starting to explore and have continued to explore. I always love that outro. The studio version's busier, and that's one thing. That's maybe the first thing I've heard in here that I almost wish. I love the sound of that delay setting and those chords and everything on that outro when the intensity comes down. So next in the sort of, I'm calling this the getting serious era. We're working toward a record at this point in 2015. V for Voice is the main record I'm working toward, but this Fight Songs is definitely there and on my mind in the background as well. And I'm organizing songs and kind of bringing songs in and out of the project in my iTunes playlist and stuff. Let's listen to this a little bit. Sinking is easy. So the demo's June 2015. Not entirely sure when I wrote the song. Didn't finish the lyrics till fall 2021, but you can hear, I mean, again, a lot of the scratch lyrics made it through. One cool thing about this, on the first song sheet here, which is mostly chords, it does have a verse on here. Right at the top, it says D-Rockets. And this is a very D-Rockets, Derek Jennings feeling song, so it's definitely huge inspiration of Derek's music on this song particularly. And there's tons of little vocal inflections and enunciations in this demo that, again, like made it through to the final. Yeah, a lot of these lyrics, they're just the first thing that tumbled out, and you know, with a good editing pass and a few additions here and there, it was kind of there, you know? I put on on MrFuriousRecords.com later in June of 2015 that I was sorting through Shaker demos, working on both a new Howie and Scott record and Fight Songs, which I'd originally thought might be an EP, but obviously had enough material for a full length, and was, just writing about, I was reviewing all my unfinished songs, looking for gems, demoing new things that hadn't been demoed yet to throw them into the mix, and yeah, just going through the library. I've got so many manila folders full of this stuff. Not so much like gems though. Like there's not another Fight Songs worth of songs. As I'm telling you, I routinely go through. Well, routinely. every 5 years maybe go through and pull out the gems. So it's not, you're hearing the best stuff as soon as I can get it out, which I recognize is a long time, but I'm not like holding back good stuff. I don't have a vault particularly. The vault is full of rejects, or not rejects, but just ideas that aren't going anywhere. Don't have the juice. This is another instrumental demo from June of 2015. Working title G minor 7 jam. And I'll go through. I got a lot of Sinking Is Easy lyric sheets here, different attempts I made, and which I ended up coming back to the scratch lyrics in a lot of cases. So this became a cool song for Miles, as Carrie Ann put it, or Look the Other Way, I guess is the official title. Here's the original sheet, and I just noticed right now, I didn't even notice this until literally right now, but it says on there, Derek Jennings melody. So another shout out to Derek. I'll have to make sure and link to Derek and the D-Rocket stuff in the notes to this video. I don't think there's a melody on here. I don't think it's the one I ended up using though. Last fall, as I was working on lyrics, I was watching The Expanse, which was fantastic, and somewhere, is it season 3 or season 4, we actually spent some time on Mars as part of the show, and so I was kind of imagining this sort of character, some kind of low-level criminal in Martian society as it's imagined in The Expanse. And so the chorus line was, I'll be back to Mars someday. And that never, I don't know, I didn't really want to make it a science fiction song or anything. And, Mars sounds a lot like Miles, which is the name of the cat. So this ended up being a song about this sort of imaginary willingness, this exaggeration of my willingness to commit crimes to get Miles the medicine she needs. And, you can connect that to your life however you like, but in my life, Miles is the cat. Even so, in the demo, it's got those bop, 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 that little rhythmic thing at the end. Solid, except no C minor / A right before the bridge. Go straight into the bridge from the 3rd chord, C minor. I don't remember if I took that note to myself or not. I'd have to go back and look at the arrangement to see if I followed through on that idea. I've also got a little snippet here of a demo I did for a melody for Look the Other Way, which I did not use. So sometimes I demo stuff and it doesn't end up working. This was a cool idea, but didn't have the punk attitude. I think I was in the car and just played the demo over the stereo and sang it into the iPad or something. That's a very Derek Jennings kind of melody, actually, more so than the one I used, which is probably a good thing, kind of mash up the influences and and move things around. So the next demo, again, June 2015. Working title for this was When My God Arrives, which wasn't, it's just, again, something that crossed my mind. Wasn't anything that had any particular religious meaning. The scratch lyrics here, where they exist, are kind of darker than the totally different. I didn't really have a topic. The scratch lyrics are just kind of a generalized despair, I suppose. And the actual song has a completely different personal story, and actually became very hopeful. The idea is pretty much here, though. I mean, it's got the nylon string guitar. It's got the feel. I pretty much just finished the lyrics and like decorated it with bass and drums and whatever for the studio, and Nate's awesome organ, of course. I'm assuming I shouldn't be saying this 45 minutes into this video, but I'm assuming by this point have listened to the studio album Fight Songs by MS Ride and have heard these songs a time or two. If you haven't, check it out. Link in the description. Like and subscribe, right? I'm not a YouTuber. This is for friends and family and people who know my music for the most part. If you happen to have stumbled on this and are this deep in it, thank you. That's amazing. And I hope you'll check out the music that I spent all these years turning into a finished piece. And not just these demos, which are pretty rough. That was a nice little vocal run into the bridge that didn't make it. Yeah, you could hear there, the scratch lyric is I won't survive, right? Finished lyrics are I just survive. Which isn't exactly rainbows and puppy dogs, but is a sight better than I won't survive. Oh, cuts right off there. So we're coming out of the... well, a little time is passing. We're moving ahead to December of 2015. This is going to be Time I Would Spend. Got a lot of lyric sheets here. No music sheets. Like none of them have chords written on them, so that probably means I had this idea in November or December of 2015 and did the demo right away, and bypassed the paper as far as the chords go.
Said it wouldn't take 1,000 words from me, but you called me once before. Said it wouldn't be a wonder, but you wanted though. Yeah, you wanted. away from something else and never see it.
Not much in the way of lyrics, but the melody is there, including all the variations, how every line is different. I really liked how this demo just flowed out, and so I wrote the finished lyrics to follow that map, even though it kind of changes with every line.
I don't need to know the things you ever wanted most. Yeah, yeah. Said it wouldn't take 1,000 times to see it. You wanted
Just another thing about the song, this is really about the studio version, but I don't know if I'll have a chance to say it anywhere else. Hopefully you never noticed and it just washed over you, but there's a crazy rhythmic thing in the choruses where the chord changes happen on the downbeat, like here, the first time you go through the pattern, and then they jump ahead, it's either an eighth or a dotted eighth on the second time through the progression in the chorus, and then at the end it gets even more odd, and it's kind of jumping back and forth where it's on the downbeat, where it jumps ahead. And I had to actually get that recorded properly in the computer here. I had to set up different colored flags for which transitions followed which rhythm, and keep an eye on the screen as I was playing bass and guitar and stuff. Making up the bridge.
making up the bridge, I'm making up the bridge, making up the bridge, I'm making up the bridge.
Yeah, I was definitely just having this idea, getting a demo down in that initial moment of inspiration, and did not have a plan for what to sing when I got to the bridge, so I made it up.
Said it wouldn't be the time that I would ever know going. Said it wouldn't be the time that I would ever know what I'm doing. Said it wouldn't be the time that I would know. Said it wouldn't be the time that I would spend. Yeah. I don't know the words that I would sing before.
All right, jumping ahead to September of 2016, and I'm just going to let this play through. This is for She Was the Greatest by Far, and it's short. It's not the full song by any means, so I'm going to let it play.
1, 2, 3, 4. The greatest by far. Down on the lonely street. The greatest by far. Hey, yeah. The greatest by far. Down on the lonely street. The greatest by far. Yeah, yeah. Do 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 da da do 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 bum do 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 da 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 ba 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 do 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 ba ba do do do.
That's the bass line.
Do 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 do.
Drum ideas. Ended up not doing quite so much intricacy and variation on the drums there, but so this was literally a dream I had with that kind of rhythm and bass line and vocal that I just, was kind of slowly waking up one morning and managed to hang on to this dream song enough to roll over the side of the bed get the iPad recording and sing that into the iPad, probably laying over the side of my bed or sitting in bed, first thing one morning. And I love those. I love sometimes in my dreams I hear phenomenal music that I think is phenomenal, and it's so hard to hang on to it. I mean, who knows what it really sounds like? It's so hard to hang on to it and bring it out into the waking world in any form whatsoever. Sometimes it's partial, which is almost worse than not being able to pull anything at all. But this was really it. This was the idea, and that's all I had. So it was through the, additional demoing and recording and experimentation processes that built that out into a full song. And I wasn't sure it was going to work on the record or at all, even to the point, and I had, I'd done the drums, I'd done the bass, I'd done at least a scratch vocal, and I kind of gotten an arrangement going. And I left a lot of space. I knew I wanted Scott to do some things. I was going to ask Scott to play a big solo and do some rhythmic horn lines. And so I handed it off to him, feeling like it was probably good enough for the record, but honestly one of the weaker songs. And with the parts that Scott sent back on the studio version, it has become one of my very favorite songs on this album. And all the layers he added and he just knocked it out of the park. So I guess go and listen to, obviously I want you to listen to the whole record, but that's a cool one to end on, as far as taking that dream idea and that little just kind of mumbled demo, half awake, and turning it into what you hear on the, on the finished record, is a really, really cool story. So, from here, from these demos in 2019, I kind of had the songs picked, and I started laying out the arrangements to a click and getting drums in place. And I was getting ready to record bass. And slightly before, let me back up. January 2020, testing. I knew I wanted this Motown kind of feel and kind of sonic feel, so I was testing out different reverb and kind of panning things, because that's a whole distinct aesthetic and mixing process that I've probably talked about elsewhere. Like in the Long Play Listening Party episode for Fight Songs. So I was getting ready to record bass, and then COVID hit, and I stopped working on Fight Songs and started doing a bunch of collaborations. The biggest one being Orbital Debris Volume 1 with Nate, and then we started the podcast, and I slowly got back to it over the next year and a half, and that brings us to today. I'm recording on October 3rd. It'll probably be 6 weeks or so before anybody sees this. But at this point, I've got the mixes almost finished, about once a week. I do 2 or 3 tiny little tweaks. I did a couple this morning. But I'm happy with it. And, in less than a month, you will be hearing Fight Songs. I can't wait to share it with you. I hope you've enjoyed listening to these demos with me and hearing some of the stories and some of the process. And like and subscribe, I guess. Be well, everybody.